So today, what I wanted to talk to everybody about is the science of momentum, how to restart a slow quarter. And I'm focusing a lot of our training this month really on just mentality and mindset and everything else that's needed to kind of push into the new year, because I find right now everyone wants to take their foot off the gas. I don't know if you guys are seeing that. If you run a team, probably are. Maybe some feedback. If you run a team, do you track all of your team members' conversations on a daily basis? I find this time of year, our numbers notoriously start to fall. And they start to fall for a couple reasons, right? The holidays are coming, right? Thanksgiving is this week. We funnel straight into Christmas, then we funnel straight into New Year's, and then people start talking about tax season. And it's twofold, right? Because sometimes our clients say what? They want to wait till spring. And we get that excuse. So last week, if you're on last week's training, our training was actually how do you get around that objection of we're going to wait till spring to keep selling. So part of it is a client objection, but part of it is a lot of times we hear this objection, and as agents, we're like, great, I'll talk to you in March. And the reality is then what happens? Well, we run into the new year with not that many sales. Our first quarter kind of sucks. And then in February, we're like, man, I got to do something if I'm going to make money this year. And then you're selling into the spring. So how do we stop that from happening? We're going to talk about identifying the real cause of why you could be slowing down this quarter, right? What's holding you back from your goals? We're going to rebuild through structure, what you need to do to kind of implement the things back in to build these habits so that you can have a strong January, you can have a strong first quarter, that you can build for a strong spring. And then we'll talk about creating micro wins, right? The little things that help us move the needle that'll keep us going forward. So momentum doesn't come back with motivation, it comes back with motion. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I can only do but so much to motivate people before they get off of a call and they go back to doing the same thing. So really, we want to get you guys into actual motion. So why momentum fades? So the first thing we need to understand is, why do we slow down this time of year typically? Most agents experience one of these three things, if not multiple of these three things. Especially this time of year, I see it all the time. The first is an emotional drift. So people start to lose the excitement or their sense of purpose that drove them to their daily actions, right? So their why feels distant and unclear, especially this time of year, because maybe you started the year with a lot of goals. You started the year with a lot of like, man, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to go. And now as we get to the end of the year, we have to ask ourselves, seriously, did we do it? And if we didn't, a lot of times that excitement can start to fade. The second thing we see is a process fatigue. Our proven systems aren't being followed consistently. So the things that we know are the things that move the needle, right? This time of year, what happens? Family starts coming into town. We start planning for the holidays. We start planning for end of the year. And so agents start to abandon the things that they know produce results. And then the last thing I see is this focus fragmentation, right? Too many priorities competing for attention. Again, end of the year is notorious for this, right? You're probably planning for Thanksgiving right this second. You're probably planning for Christmas already. You're probably getting gifts. You start thinking about tax season. You start thinking about all of the things that you got to do in the last quarter. Family's coming in town. You're going out of town. We're all dealing with one of these things. Why are you doing what you're doing in this business? What makes you excited about getting up every day and coming into this business? Because the reality is selling houses that exciting? I don't think it is. I mean, maybe you guys are still high on like showing houses or sitting in an open house on the weekend or writing contracts at 10 o'clock at night, but I'm not. So like, what's your excitement? Why do you get up and do this on a daily basis?
To travel with my family as much as possible.
That's good. I like that one. I'm with you. That's one of my whys. Anybody else? What's your why? Why are you doing this? Why do you want to be successful in this business?
My daughter, give her the best life she can have. Let her travel see the world that I started so late in doing.
Okay. I like that for your daughter. And it could be totally materialistic too, by the way, right? I find some people are like really, I don't know if it's embarrassed is the word, but some people just don't want to say that it's money. Like, I want to make this much money or I want to be able to buy this. Like, it's totally okay, like to be money motivated as well. You know what I mean? And for me, I want to do 350 deals as a team next year. I want to have 500 agents at EXP, and I want to buy another Ferrari. I want a 458 Italia Spider, right? I have no qualms in saying like, hey, that's what's on the list. It's what's going to happen. I don't need money anymore, right? I make enough money. It's fine. I could retire tomorrow. Yet I come here every week and I do this for you guys because I like it, right? Like I want to help agents grow. So my 500 agents isn't about money. It's that at 500 agents, if my average agent does 5 to 10 deals a year, I'm helping almost 5,000 families a year attain home ownership, and I'm helping 500 agents and their families, right? So I like that impact of being able to help people. The next question is, do you wake up every day just as excited about that why as you did when you first started this thing or earlier this year? Because the problem a lot of times is we have our whys and we say our whys, but they aren't enough motivation for us to actually get up and do the thing. So that's why I want people to get so specific, right? Everybody wants freedom, right? Everybody wants to be able to do what they want to do whenever they want to do it, right? But is the why big enough that every day you get up and you're like, I'm going to push through? Because here's the thing, process fatigue. Remember, what we're tired of is the fact that overall, this is pretty boring, okay? Right? I mean, it really is. Like the stuff that's fun about real estate is not the stuff that moves the needle into making money. What moves the needle for us every day in this business? It's doing the boring stuff consistently. That's why our why has to be so strong in this thing, right? Because the reality is that you've got to get up every day and do the stuff that you're like, man, I don't really want to prospect for 3 hours today. Man, I don't really want to do 3 open houses this weekend. Or the amount of times I tell agents to do midweek open houses and they're like, midweek? I don't know about midweek. You're like, what? Like, are people not shopping for houses Monday through Friday, right? But the reality is they don't think about doing it on an evening. I don't want to spend my Friday evening in an open house. I don't want to spend my whole Saturday. I want to drink mimosas and go to brunch, right? So the reality is most of the stuff that moves the needle, we know works, yet we get fatigued with it. So we start pulling it back, right? And then that focus fragmentation comes in last, right? We understand that this time of year, it's really hard to focus on the money-making stuff. So how do we fix that, right? Well, we fix that. Here's your momentum calculation, your math problem is clarity times consistency times confidence. Okay, so the clarity, that's why I asked you guys, what is your why, right? You have to know exactly what to do each day. You're not guessing at it. There's no confusion. You know, every day, here's the steps that I have to take to hit my why. If I don't do this, then it doesn't happen. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to be upset. Because if you're not upset, who cares? I'm reading a book right now. It's called Change or Die. It's really cool because it talks about the fact that they did all of these medical studies on people that were going to die medically because they were eating the wrong things and they were doing the wrong things and they weren't exercising. And the doctors told them, hey, if you don't make these changes, you're going to die. Do you know what percentage of people changed statistically?
10%.
Y'all are dead on. Yeah, at 90% of people do nothing. So think about that, right? If death will not motivate somebody to change, do we think money will? It does not. So if you run a team and you're like, oh man, I just gotta motivate my people with money, it's not gonna do it, guys. You gotta get to a clear why. And I'm telling you that, not if you run the team, I'm telling you that if you're just on the call and you're trying to wake up every day and keep pushing forward with momentum, you have to understand how strong your why is and what you want and why you want it. Carrie and Shanisha and me, we were at a grid leadership retreat a couple weeks ago, and they had this whole thing on like, why do you want this? And then it was like, well, why do you want that? And it's like, well, why do you want that? And the whole point is getting to it. Like, I know what my why is profoundly. You know, I do a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of ministry work, and I want to be able to do that for anybody that needs it at any time. So my why is $100,000 a month in revenue share because I know it's do nothing money, but that why isn't my why. My why is because $100,000 without me waking up in the morning lets me go do all the other stuff that helps me impact other people at such a higher level. So I can go out every day and say, I'm going to get 1,000 agents and I'm going to grow my team to 500 transactions a year. And I'm going to do all of this stuff. And it's not a money motivation for me. It's I'm helping so many people change their lives spiritually and financially. But I know the KPI that gets me there, and that's $100,000 a month in revenue share. It's $100,000 without waking up passively. I know I can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a month working, but I don't want to work to do it because I want to do the things that I like that are more important that help people, right? So that's why I say we get that clarity first and foremost. So start thinking about that. If you were not quite sure about what it is, write that down. What do you want? Why do you want it? Why do you want that? What does that do for you, right? Get to the clarity so that every day you're not thinking about, okay, what am I really doing? Do I want to get up, right? Just clear, actionable steps. The next piece is consistency. So you're going to do it whether you feel like it or not. Show up when it's hard, when it's boring, when results aren't immediate. I cannot emphasize this enough that most of success is not enjoyable. It is just doing the things. Now, the results are enjoyable and we're happy once we get to those results. When you get to, what maybe it's closings and you're like, man, I just want 5 closings a month, right? Once you get there, you're pumped about it. But all the stuff that led you there, going to an open house and nobody shows up, you're like, this is a bummer. Prospecting for 3 hours, nobody picks up the phone the first day. You want to give up. That's not the fun stuff. It's the consistency of doing it each and every day until the consistency pays off. And then with that comes confidence, because then as we do that stuff consistently, these little small wins that we get, when we see that the needle is now moving in our favor, now we start to build that trust that each of these little things we're doing each day, that it's worth it, that it's going to pay off. That's where momentum comes into. Okay, so keep that in mind. Consistency, clarity, confidence, figure out what you're lacking, and that's what you're going to work on. All right, the power of micro wins. This is another big thing. How many of you guys keep like a goal list that you check off when you complete a goal? You write it down, and when you do it, you cross it off, and you get that dopamine hit. If you don't do that, you should. Let me show you guys something. I've shared this on calls before. This is my goal pad. I've had this goal pad since I was 17 years old. It's the same one. If you look, most of the stuff is crossed off already, right? So then what happens is I go to another page. That's page 2. I go to another page. Now I'm starting page 3. See how page 3 isn't really crossed off? It's because I keep adding. And so I've been able to go back and look since I was 17 years old and see what was important to me at 17, what is definitely not important now. And what I also do is when I cross it off, I write the date that I completed it. So I can actually go back and I can look at goals that say like, Jared Davis sold his first house, which is like crazy. I've sold over 1,000 houses. Yet I have on my goal talk thing that, that I've sold over 50 houses in a year. I have on here that we were going to do, I think, 20 million in sales. This year we'll do 100 million. So I can see all of that progress. So what happens is when you have these small wins, it actually triggers a dopamine release in your brain, which makes you want to continue to go do it. So here's a few little options for you guys. If you guys are trying to figure out how to get the momentum moving again, here's 3 things that you can write down and do. 1, send 3 personal texts to past clients each day. Do this every day this week as we move up to Thanksgiving. No sales pitch. You're just checking in. This is a perfect time of year to do this, by the way, guys. If you guys are like, I don't know what to do to reach out to my past clients in Sphere, this is the easiest time. Like, hey, Magali, this is Jared Davis. It's been so long since we talked. I just wanted to reach out and see how you and the family are doing. I hope you're about to enjoy your holiday. That's it. You don't have to do anything else. But guess what's going to happen? Your clients are going to text you back and they're going to be like, oh man, I hope you enjoy your holiday. Magali, it's so good to hear from you. How are you doing? Right? You're going to get these things back, and each person that hits you back, it's going to be like a dopamine hit in your brain. You're going to be like, oh man, I sent these things out. Now I'm watching it come back. I'm watching this happen. This week we do pie drops for everybody, right? This is the same principle. Texts are easier, but if you got like $100 to drop, go to Publix, buy some Dutch apple pies, spend $60, visit 10 clients this week, right? Schedule 1 open house. Open houses are literally the easiest way to gain clients with no budget, and yet I watch agents every day stop doing them. I don't understand it for the life of me. I'm going to throw my team under the bus here for a second. We had a competition starting in June that if my team would do 200 open houses between June and the end of the year, the person that sold the most would get a free ticket to Cabo in March for the event. So all inclusive, ticket paid for, $3,000, $4,000, whatever it costs to get them there, paid for. And do you know that my team was so pumped through June and into July that they must have did 100 open houses in the first 40 days. But in like the last 90 days, they've done like 50. What happened? Mustafa and Tyler, you guys are on the winning team right now, like to go to Mexico. You might as well pull off mute and say, what happened, Tyler? Why did they drop?
Maybe they hadn't seen as many people coming through to the open houses in these later days. So they might have lost a little bit of encouragement to go out there and make it happen. I mean, getting 3 to 4 people on average in the later ones that I've been doing isn't necessarily a bad thing, and I'm providing value to each and every one of them.
Yeah, and here's the reality that Tyler didn't mention. Let's say you got 3 people, and then in the earlier open houses in the year, you got 10 people. How good are agents at following up with all of the people they met in the open houses? The answer is very poor, very bad. So in our tracker sheet, we also have a did you follow up with everyone you met in the open house? And our tracker is great. It's yes, all the way down the line. So I know that my agents follow up at least once. But what's the average follow-up amount that people do for leads? It's 2. It's 2 follow-ups on average. So the reality is, what is an open house lead? It's just like any other lead. The conversion rate is way higher. I've done my last 3 opens, I've closed 1 out of every open. So I'm 100% close ratio on my last 3 opens. I don't do them anymore. I let the team do them. I haven't done them in a couple years. But the reality is I followed up until they told me to leave them alone or they bought a house from me. So remember, it's the boring stuff. So if you're not doing open houses, it's the easiest way to get your stuff kickstarted, but you have to follow up with these people constantly. So follow up and do an open house. Like, I want you guys to feel this. It's not about being hard on anybody. It's just about being honest and saying, look, we're all in this spot right now, where if you're we're at the point now where you can look back and you will know, did you hit your goal or not for the year? Because anything that you close next week on, when does it close? 2026. So right now, you don't have to wait 4 weeks to know, did you make it this year? Did you not? You know right now in your heart of hearts, did I do the things that I needed to do to make it this year or not? So this is where you analyze and you say, okay, if I didn't, I'm going to set up these 3 personal texts every single day for the next week or 2 moving into December. I'm going to schedule an open house each week, right? And then make your first calls early. We do our morning huddles at 8 in the morning so that the second we're on around 8:30, everybody can hop on the phone if they want to hop on the phone. But if you're waking up at 7 or 8 and then you're just lollygagging, you check your email for an hour and then all of a sudden you start rolling to a phone around 11 a.m., guess what? You just missed the window anyways. You should be on the phones by 8 or 9 in the morning. So here's the thing, momentum isn't found in big breakthroughs. It's these little daily deposits that are going to help you out. Thank you so much for tuning in to one of our weekly training calls. Obviously, you caught the recorded session, but if you're interested in catching any of our live sessions that we do them typically on Mondays. I'm going to put the link below. So if you want to join any of our trainings live so that you can participate, so you can comment, ask questions, feel free to come. This is for our EXP group that we have here, our Omega group of agents, but it's open to anybody that wants to join, really. So if you're looking for coaching, if you're looking for training, feel free to hit that link below and we'll see you on one of our live calls.